quick thoughts today. So I have a personal website. It's thedigitaldiarist.neocities.org. You may have seen it, you may not. I use it for all kinds of things. But one of the things that I use it for, one of the things I was doing on it today, was to make lists of things that I like. Today I was putting together a list of audio dramas that I like and think are worth listening to. Both big name items like the Star Wars radio dramas and the Big Finish Doctor Who stories, but also things like independent podcasts that I've listened to or individual episodes of something that I found interesting. I was thinking about list making as a form of diary keeping. There are a lot of different ways that we catalog and share the media that we have consumed. So you've got like Goodreads for books or Letterboxd for movies. When I was in high school and university, I used to use a site called Listography, which is literally just set up to make lots of different lists. And you could make, to-do lists for your shopping or whatever, but you might also make lists of like your favorite books and movies, and your listography page would be basically just like a corkboard of all of your different lists. In some ways, I think this list making is a response to like the amount of media that we are invited to consume every day. There are basically, on a human scale, there are an infinite number of television programs and movies and podcasts and books, and part of what we're doing when we make lists and we share favorites and reviews of what we like and don't like, we're curating that media for our circle of friends and sort of presenting them with a piece of our identity. I definitely see myself as a person who constructs my identity in part through the media that I consume, the books that I read and the films that I love. I think some of that comes from being a creative person, being an artist. I think some of that comes from being young and being oversaturated in media. But then if we think about this kind of list making as a form of diary keeping, it can be really interesting to look back through what you were reading or watching or listening to at a particular point in your life and what you thought about it and how your thoughts have maybe changed as you've grown up. I know that because Caleb's theme is nostalgia, we've been talking a lot about nostalgia and childhood stories this VEDS, but there's more than just nostalgia that comes with revisiting things that you liked as a kid. I think about the characters that I identified with at particular ages in my life. When I was growing up and reading the Harry Potter books, I identified strongly with Hermione, with her bushy hair and buck teeth and her great intelligence and her difficulty at making friends. When I was 18, 19 years old, I identified with Kath from Fangirl, which I talked about last year during VEDS. I responded strongly to Kath's anxieties and her dreams about being a writer and her struggle to figure out who she was and what she wanted as she was entering this new phase of her life, heading off to college. So I guess I'm curious, do you guys keep track of the things that you watched or read or listened to in a year, whether it's by writing them down or adding stuff on Letterboxd or whatever? What about the shoutouts that we've been doing during VEDS, like YouTube favorites and channel recommendations? Do you guys think that we could call that some form of diary keeping? And do you ever reflect on the media that you consumed when you were younger and think about how it's impacted your identity? Hi, Alicia from the future here. I completely forgot to mention how things like film journals explicitly make this kind of list making into a diary keeping practice. I love the film journals tag on Instagram. It's so creative and cool to look at the ways that people use film to reflect on their own lives and experiences, because it's never just about the movies. It's about the creative practice. It's about what you were doing in your life and why you watched the movie and how you felt about it. All of these things. I don't know if I have a strong thesis for this video. All I know is that I really like making lists, and I like going back to look at the lists that I've made to see if I still agree with them. In any case, my friends and fellow VEDSies, it's something I'm going to keep thinking about, and it probably will end up as an entry on my website at some point, because of course, the personal website is also another form of diary keeping. Personal websites are a form of diary keeping that I miss, and I wish that more people participated in these days. In any case, my friends and fellow VEDSies, I will see you tomorrow, and until then, good night. And thanks to Clever Dick Films, who I shouted out on Sunday, I now have 100 subscribers and a custom channel URL. It's wonderful. You can go to youtube.com/SladdenAlice and there I am.